Traveling is expensive and we need to be able to travel, still enjoy our life, still have fun, but do it on a budget because costs can add up quick. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. In today's video, I am sharing travel tips, how to travel on a budget. So I'm going to be sharing with you some tips that I use to make traveling a little bit more affordable. And before I get into the video, if you aren't subscribed already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and like and share this video if you enjoy it. So let's get into it. Plan in advance. You want as much time as possible to save and also to look into your bookings, look into your flights, look into your activities. You want to make sure that you can do research and find out what it is that you want to do while you're there, what places you want to go to, and you can figure out your budget from that point. The most expensive things are going to be your flight and your accommodations. So when you plan earlier, you have enough time to do your research. You can compare prices. You can make sure that you get the best deal. Last minute trips, yeah, you might be spending a lot with a last minute trip because you're just trying to book stuff and get stuff done. It is possible to still save with last minute trips, but you know, the closer you are to your date of arrival, the prices are going to be higher. Try to plan as early as possible for a trip so you have enough time to get the best prices. Like I said, flights, accommodations, those are the things that are going to be the highest. So in order to save on flights, there are a couple of things that I recommend. The first thing is to set alerts for flights. So I use Google flight alerts, and also I just started using Hopper. I haven't really purchased anything on Hopper, but I know when it's time to buy because Hopper gives you an alert, and I'm like, oh, let me go to Google Flights and book my flight. Those are two resources that I suggest for you: Google Flights, the Hopper app, and I'm sure there are other websites and apps out there that will track prices for you and let you know when is the best time to purchase. I know with Google you can also see how high and low some flights are without even tracking it. You can just change your days and book that way, which brings me into another tip: be flexible with your days, because when you're flexible you can save more. Because if you travel on certain days, like during the week, and you're flexible, like you don't have a set date that you need to be there or anything, then you can save more money because most people aren't traveling during the week, so that means lower flights. Also, I've noticed that flights are cheaper really early in the morning or really late at night. I'm not the traveling at night type of girl unless it's coming home, but like going to my actual destination, I am an early person. I want to get there in the morning just in case anything happens. I'll have enough time to catch another flight if I miss it or something. But if you travel early, because most people don't like to travel early and get up, you can save money that way too by traveling really early in the day or really late at night, because most people don't really want those flights. Another way to save on flights is to use the budget airlines. Y'all, I don't usually use the budget airlines. I tried it a couple of times and it wasn't that bad. I would rather pay more for comfort and just the customer service of other airlines, but the budget airlines, it gets you to where you need to go. It does the job. So I prefer those for maybe like short trips that I'm not going to be on there that long, or maybe I'll pay for the upgrade or something and it's still cheaper. So look into that as well. So I would say don't just cut it out completely, because I know low budget airlines get a bad rep, and me, I wanted to experience it for myself instead of like what other people were saying, and it actually wasn't that bad. I have some I prefer, some I don't. So yes, that is a way that you can save. The next thing we are going to talk about is accommodations. Where are you going to be staying when you're traveling? Where are you going to sleep? So this is another area that's going to be the most expensive. Okay, so I'm a hotel girly. I don't know, that's just my preference, but there are other ways that you can save. I would say with your accommodations, you save the most money, I feel like, when you're traveling with other people, because you can split the cost multiple ways or 2 ways or whatever. So that would be my first tip, is go with someone. I would say this would be one of the best perks of traveling with someone, is saving on accommodations. Yeah, where you're staying is usually going to be high, but some other ways that you can save on your accommodations is Airbnb. I tried Airbnb for the first time and it was actually decent, and the price was decent too, so I'm like, oh, this is cool. Another way I saved was a hostel, but this is when I was traveling internationally. I haven't done a hostel in the States before, but it was definitely cheap internationally, and I did look up the prices of what it would cost to stay in a hostel in the States, and I was surprised by the cost. I'm like, wow, that's really low. And the thing about hostels, they have different options that you can do. I'm not really, I don't know, I don't feel that comfortable with like being in a room with a whole bunch of other people. I don't know, it's kind of weird to me. I would prefer my own personal room, which when I was doing my research, some hostels, they let you have your own room. I'm like, oh, I could do that one, you know, as long if I can sleep by myself, I would like that. So yeah, so if that's your type of vibe or something that you're open and willing to try, that's an option, because hostels are really cheap. Another tip is, if you know someone who lives there, or you have a family member or a friend there, maybe you can stay with them, and that will help save on your cost as well. You can stay with them the whole time, or maybe you can do a hotel then stay with them, a hostel and stay with them, or something like that. I personally don't really like staying with people, but that's my own personal thing. And if I do stay with somebody, I would probably do it for like a day or 2, depending on how long I'm staying. But yeah, that is another tip to save on your accommodations. I think another thing we have to think about with where we're staying is we have to think about how long we're going to be in our rooms, because I feel like if you're not even going to be in your room that much, why do you need the best of the best? But if you're gonna, you know, be in there for a while, or you really want to relax and really enjoy it, then I could understand that more. But most of our time when we're on vacation or traveling is outside our room doing other things. But those are ways that you can save on your accommodations. Another tip to save when you are traveling is travel during the off season. So this is the time when everybody is not there. This isn't a popular time that everyone goes there, because there's honestly a variety of reasons. So you should probably do research when you're looking into the off season, like maybe why is it the off season, because sometimes it may be the rainy season or hurricane season or something like that. So you want to make sure you know why. But some off seasons are just because, you know, people are going back to school and things like that. Just look into the off season of places that you want to go, and you can save a lot by traveling during the off season, because this means flights are going to be lower, hotel is going to be lower, activities may be lower, and also it's not going to be that many people. Off season, you can just enjoy it. Like, yeah, there are still tourist people there and stuff, but you really have room to go places and do things and really experience things. Maybe shorter lines, maybe you don't have to book so far in advance for a really popular restaurant or something, because it's the off season, so you can just go in because you don't have so much competition. So there are some perks to the off season, but the main thing when traveling in the off season is cheaper everything. I've also heard about traveling in the shoulder season as well. The shoulder season is right in the middle of the peak and the off season, which is good. So if you want to travel somewhere, that's also a good period to travel. So looking into that as well. You want to avoid the peak season because higher prices on everything. So many people, then everything's marked up because everybody's there. It's probably like an event happening, something big. But yeah, if you're really trying to save and budget, then yeah, avoiding peak season. I would say only go to peak. I would say go to peak season if there's like certain events like you really want to go to. But if you just want to experience the location and see a new place, then yeah, traveling during the off season or the shoulder season is fine because you just want to see everything and, you know, go to the normal touristy spots and stuff. I mentioned this a little bit earlier when I was talking about being flexible with your dates, but I'm gonna take it a little bit further. You want to be flexible. So you can look online and you can see certain places that you can go for cheaper prices. So I would say a good way to save is if you just want to travel to different places, you don't really care when, you just really just want to go somewhere, you don't have an exact place you want to go and a ticket is on sale or the ticket is low, then you can just buy the ticket and save that way and you can still travel. So when you want to travel on a budget and just go places, then you travel more so on availability and what's the best price instead of location. A lot of people, which is normal, start first with location. Like, I want to go to New York, I want to go to Costa Rica, and then you find dates and flights based on your location. I'm talking about doing it in the opposite way, where based on the flight and the price of the flight, that determines where you would go. That actually sounds really fun and scary at the same time. But yeah, that is a way that you can save money. And I've definitely been looking online to see where do I want to go. I think this would actually be a cool thing to do for international flights. Yeah. There's an Explore feature on Google Flights, but the Explore feature is where you can just put in you're flexible with dates and they'll say, okay, I'm gonna show you all the locations you can go to with great prices within the dates that you just said. I can't make this video without saying make a budget. Y'all, I really don't even have budgets when I travel, to be honest. But in my mind, I know the budget kinda, and I know what I can and can't afford, or what I want to spend on and what I don't want to spend on. So I'm definitely mindful, but I need to start making budgets for when I travel. But I spend around the same amount, to be honest, every time. Another tip that I use to save when traveling is shorter trips. So some people may disagree with me, but this works for me. So the longer you're in a location, the more money you're gonna spend. If you're there for an extra day, now you gotta pay for an extra night. Now you got to pay for more food, for transportation again. So I like my trips short, not that short. I like maybe a couple of days, 5 days, 6 days. It actually depends on the location. I don't really like to stay places for a long time because I'm just over it. And after a certain amount of time, like, okay, I'm ready to go back home. But that is a way that I have saved by looking at my budget or looking at how much I want to spend, and then look at the flights and look at the accommodations and decide there. Like, I think about how much am I willing to spend on a flight or willing to spend on accommodations, and then I can determine how many days I'll stay based on that or based on my budget. For food, a couple of ways that you can save money is by having takeout instead of eating at the restaurant and then having to tip and all of that. You can just do takeout, and that can help you save a little bit of money. I actually did this a couple of times when I was somewhere, and it wasn't really, I wasn't doing it to save, but I realized that I ended up saving by not going to a restaurant, by just getting takeout. And I was like, well, that worked out. Another way to save on food while you are out is to cook at your Airbnb, cook at your shared space. I know hostels have kitchens. Buy things that you can put in a refrigerator at the hotel. You can buy snacks, you can buy fruit, things like that. So that is another way that you can save on some of your food costs. Like maybe if you're staying there for a while, maybe you can go out to dinner every day and then eat breakfast at home or lunch at home or something like that. You can also eat less meals. So I would say it will honestly depend on how you want to do it, but I know when we travel and things, we want to enjoy the food, and I think you should. But if you want to save a little, then just have some meals eating out and then some meals that you eat in your hotel, or you cook yourself, or you get a sandwich or something that you can make. But I think if you use the majority of the tips at the beginning of this video, then you should be able to save the most money and won't even have to save and cut down on food costs. But if you want to save even more, you can. Another way to save is to do free events. So if you're going to a different city, a different area, you can explore the area without having to pay for things. You can go on walks. You can go to the free museums or the free events, see what's going on in the place that you're going, see what's happening in the neighborhoods, seeing what is happening locally. Maybe you can go to a festival or something, and that's a way that you can save if you just want to be in the environment and just take it all in. There are a couple of tips I have for transportation. The first thing is it's cheaper to drive places than to fly places, which a lot of people do. They go on road trips and things like that. Me personally, I ain't got time for that. I would rather be on a flight and get there fast than be in a car for a longer period of time. But that's just me. But you can save a lot, especially if you're going with a whole bunch of people in the car and y'all all just chip in for gas. Like, yeah, you're definitely saving money compared to each of y'all paying for y'all own plane ticket. Also, look into public transportation. I know some people rent cars and Uber and things like that, but you can save by riding public transportation places, and it also gives you a feel of the place that you're at. Also, you'll be with the locals on buses and on trains and things like that. But public transportation, don't sleep on that. Just make sure you know where you're going, you got maps, make sure it's safe, all of those type of things. And it's also cool because you get to see the location in a new way, in a different way, and just feeling like you're really a part of the place that you're at, like you live there. My final tip on how to travel on a budget is go to an all-inclusive resort. I was looking at the prices for some of these resorts, and I was like, that's really good, because some of them include flight, accommodations, food, all of that. And I know some all-inclusives don't include your flights, but when they do, it's like, what? Everything all in one little package is nice. It's amazing. Like, yeah, just look at all-inclusive resorts and then compare them, and you can save money that way. So these are some of the tips that I have personally used to save when traveling, and also some tips I will continue to use. Well, that's the end of my video. If you enjoyed this video and you found value in it, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.